Horizon Chess Home UX, and this is why the Chinese stealth J-20 might not be what you think. Something Dragon or Chengdu, I don't know what the fuck the name is. I think the newer version of it is called Chengdu. But yeah, there is also like J-35, or is it called FC-31 in like external markets. I guess poor people get cheaper version or something. Why is it called J-35 or FC-31 compared to the Chinese version that is J-35? Why the differences? I guess they're making it clear like we're gonna sell you, but we're not gonna sell you the best version or something. I don't know. Pakistan is buying it, I guess. Makes sense. Chinese alliance, why not? There was a news like, is India going to buy F-35? I don't even know. There's a talk of F-35. I'm pretty sure like there was an issue where India bought something from, I don't know, I guess Russia or something way back when, and like there was some sanctions which might prevent India for even like having a talk about F-35. I don't know what it is, but if that was the case, why would India back down from Su-57 deal? Only reason they would back away from Su-57 deal is like they had some hope of something, some other market, which is F-35, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, J-20 might not be what you think. This was just found and explained. Great channel. I've been watching a lot of videos from this channel. Obviously, this mustard and channels like this is really good. Real engineering. So yeah, I mean it's given, right? J-20 basically it's apparently a surprise, like it's better than Su-57 apparently. I don't know which channel did I watch recently that talked about it. I'm like, what? Su-57 worse than J-20? Okay, but I guess both of them are not even close to F-35 when it comes to radar cross section. But obviously it's like more nuance than that, more complexity than that. It's not as good as F-35 on stealth, but is it just good enough to fool the targeting system? Who knows? But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting video. Let's watch it. Remember, if you like my next and subscribe, so that way I know which type of videos to react to more. And you can help this channel by helping the algorithm. If you have any critique of anything, I guess comment down. Always read comments whenever I can. And yeah, let's watch it.
USA, Europe, and Russia have been dominating the world of aviation for decades, but in recent years, a new competitor has emerged. Meet the new power from the East. This Chinese 5th gen jet has already entered operational service and its numbers are rapidly growing. But is it any good, or is it just a cheap copy of its counterparts? Stick with me today to get answers to why the J-20 might be not what you think. The J-20 story begins with the JXX program back in the early 90s. It was, at the time, a very ambitious program started by the Chinese government to procure the next-gen fighter. But why was it very ambitious, you may ask? Well, to put it simply, China was so far from actually successful building this kind of aircraft that it's almost a miracle that anything was built at all. Namely because they didn't have the know-how, they didn't have
Okay, people really need to understand. Like, okay, obviously I funnily dunk on China, but obviously I try to say pass as much I can. Like India versus China versus this versus that. I don't. I hate that shit. Right? It's like, would you just stop already all the fucking bullshit around the world? I'm a scientific guy. Most space, I love space. Any space astronomer, I guess. All the space topic I like. Basically, astrophysics, astronomer is like the best one. So anybody who thinks like that will think like, oh, invisible lines, who gives a fuck? I understand geopolitics and its value and how countries' borders have been really important in the past and all that. But in the end, like, uh, who's gonna gain what in the end? Wars and shit, like people die. Okay, what changed in the end? So in the end, I'm gonna say that China, when it comes to like, if you look 20 years past, India and China didn't have that much of a gap. If anything, if you looked at India in 2004, you see more cars on road than you see in China. China is just mostly weird rickshaw type of tricycles and bikes and things. Now look at China building J-20 all by themselves. You can't compare China to India, right? I mean, India's like proud to be Indian. India is getting stronger, but China is much stronger. Like the level of gap they've created between two, this is insanity. Now yes, the means they did, right, like strategically acquiring certain documents here and there, okay, I understand. But still, in the end, when it comes to result, look at China. They have no history of anything like that. They have no history of making something like J-20, and like they're making it right now. They're moving on to J-35. What is going to be China's capability in 10 years? Like, let's think about it, right?
have the engines, and they definitely had no experience with stealth technology. The only thing that they had was vast experience with copying Soviet aircraft and that age old essential ingredient, money. But the fall of their long term ally, the Soviet Union, would prove to be essential for their success. Their first step towards building a new fighter jet was acquiring almost all of the top tier Soviet tech from the newly formed, desperate for cash, Russian and Ukrainian governments during the 90s and early 2000s. The second was a huge data leak of the F-35 documentation orchestrated by Chinese hackers back in 2009. To sum it up, the Chinese gathered the most that they could and planned to build their new jet with experiences from both sides, a perfect blend of East and West. After being chosen over the Shenyang in 2000,
They did basically what Romans did during Punic War. Oh, is that how you? I mean, not really. Romans didn't strategically acquire anything. It's like boat crashed on shore and basically like reverse engineer the shit out of it. But still, they're trying to do something like that, like H-20, like I don't know, B2 equivalent. It's not really close. Again, none of them are close to anything USA has. But what from 10 years from now, 20 years from now, who knows?
2008, the Chengdu Aircraft Corporation unveiled their first prototype of this 5th gen fighter in 2011. But the world welcomed it with a lot of
Oh my god, Chengdu's company's name. Why was I like, is it Chengdu? Is it Mighty Dragon? No, Mighty Dragon is the name, just like how Lightning is the name of 35. Chengdu is the company that makes it, so it's both, I guess. It's like, is it Lockheed Martin? Is it Lightning? No, both. That's a company.
skepticism. When the first pictures of the J-20 performing ground tests went around the globe, experts were quick to downplay the significance of this jet and rate it as just yet another Chinese copycat technology demonstrator. And to be fair, it wasn't much more than that at the time, but I will say that again, at the time. Design of this aircraft was nothing unseen before. It was a love child of the F-22 and the MiG-144, as people like to say, but it was actually based on mature stealth concepts from both the F-22 and F-35, and adding on basic delta wings plus a canard design often seen on fighters such as the Rafale and the Eurofighter. But it's far more than just a mere copycat. The J-20 is massive.
Yeah, Rafale has his own like agility points, right? Certain area Rafale can have agility that no other planes can have. It's like depends on the scenario. But yeah, if you like take something from F-22, take something from F-35 and Rafale and Eurofighter Typhoon, it's gonna be either best of both world or worst of both world. Who knows? Like depends. Only warfare can tell us now.
Massive. At 21.4 meters in length, it's the largest 5th gen aircraft to this day, and just a tad smaller than the flankers, which are otherwise huge fighters. Its canards are complementing its delta wing configuration due to instability in flight caused by a lack of horizontal stabilizers at the back of the fuselage. The vertical stabilizers, on the other hand, are very similar to the ones on the F-35, but are completely movable like the Su-57 and YF-23. You gotta wonder where they got that idea. And just like the MiG-144, the ventral fins are present on the bottom of the tail section for further stability in flight. The nose of the aircraft is a clear copy of the F-22 and F-35 designs. Just look at this front view comparison between the J-20 and the F-35.
Oh my god! To talk about YF-23 now this shit. Look at it, it's like, do you even see? Okay, I see kind of differences, right? Chengdu J-20 looks like somebody talk to Chengdu like how does F-22 looks. There are certain like details of F-22 that's like missing, but kind of similar, right? If you don't see too much in detail, it looks similar. Wait a minute, is this the same plane? No, it's not. Look at that. I mean, in the end, it's a large object, and a lot of stealth technology comes from like certain design choice which might take a long time to develop on paper, but once you do it, just like you can just visually see and see like where is the stealth. If you can see that and just copy it, obviously if you have blueprint, I'm guessing Chengdu might have like just the right stealth to like avoid a certain targeting system, things like that. It might be good.
5. There is also another interesting detail to note, the DSI intakes, but more on that in a moment. The missile bay is segmented into 3 compartments, just like on the F-22, with the main one being used for medium to long-range missiles like the PL-12 and 15, and side ones for IR-guided short-range weaponry. A very interesting detail that's unique to this aircraft is how the side missile doors actually close and the missile is deployed on the outside when in combat. This solution lowers the drag and lets the missile use much less energy in the initial stage of locking onto a heat source. The J-20 can carry a total of 6 missiles, more than the F-35 but less than the F-22, which is able to carry an impressive 8 missiles internally. There's also an option for additional pylons on the
I mean, it's a air dominance. Come on, how you gonna have dominance if you don't have like firepower? Isn't like F-22 the smallest? Wait a minute, what is smaller? After F-35, I'm pretty sure F-22 is smaller, right? Okay, I get confused between those two. Is F-35 no F-22 smaller, right? Because it has just one job. F-35 is multi-role thing, and it's like kind of a multi thing to it. You need to make it bigger. I don't know. Pretty sure you need like a because of B variant, you need a center space for that hovercraft fan. Obviously, in other variants, it's just fuel tank.
wings, but so far we've only seen the J-20 carrying extra fuel tanks. And as we know, weapons on the wings reduce the stealth profile of the aircraft, but I'm getting ahead of myself. As you can see, many solutions have been borrowed from other aircraft, and although the design isn't exactly innovative, it is very interesting and it works. Oh, and I haven't even talked about the engines for a reason. We need a whole nother segment just on that.
You need to very surgically time how you're going to use your J-20s because lack of super cruising, right? Like you can't rely on afterburners to like close in the gap all the time, and afterburners will be like anti-stealth. That's the whole point, right?
Many have been skeptical about the J-20's stealth capabilities, but let's take a look at the production model, which was a big leap forward compared to the prototype. The Chinese picked up a lot from the stolen documents from Lockheed, and the J-20 is definitely not to be ridiculed. Integrated optical targeting systems are present just like on the F-35, and the engine nozzles, although not flat like the F-22, are improved and follow again the F-35 design. The jet has a new radar, 360 degrees early warning sensors, and although canards are somewhat that affects radar cross-section, there are plenty of aircraft that have canards and are actually still pretty good in that area. Take a look at the Rafale for a second. It's speculated to have the lowest radar cross-section among 4th gen jets, and its Delta Wing Plus canard design looks awfully just like our Chinese friend here. Mentioning the DSI intakes again, you just need to see how they learn from the
Okay, but What was it, like 1 to 5, right? That was the range meter. I don't know. So F-18 was really smaller, right? Like 1 point something. What is Rafale's crossing? Said even lower than 1. But then again, like F-35 and F-22 is like 0.000. It's just like you can't even compare. So what is stealth? Like proper stealth, like not detecting a radar. I'm pretty sure there are like lots of scenarios where something like F-35 and F-22 would come and go, and people will only know that, like something was there through damage. That's it. Obviously, like really good, like how I'm guessing Iran has it, right? Really good early detectors would probably detect something's there, but where is it? So that is the first element that I think only F-35 and F-22 can have. Obviously B-2s as well. But then comes the element of like, can you target it? That there, I'm pretty sure J-20 and Su-57 can do fine, I guess. Pretty sure they won't be like, where are they? No, it's there. I'm pretty sure you can detect J. Once you detect it, you know where J-20 is. Like it's flying there. Okay, can targeting system do something about it? I don't know. There are many layers, I guess.
F-35 experience. See that bump in the intakes? Well, the idea is to use it to slow down air entering at supersonic speeds and make the aircraft much more controllable in sharp turns. Basically, what an intake ramp does on many other modern jets, but unlike the ramp, this is much lighter and a way less complicated solution. And if you still think that the J-20 is just a Potemkin village, US General Kenneth Wilsbach said that after encounters with J-20s over the South China Sea, he was relatively impressed with the Chinese jets and how the E-3 might be obsolete in detecting them in time. China is now definitely capable of developing quality electronics for their aircraft, and most likely surpassing Russia in this area. All in all, whilst this jet is not on par with the F-22 in terms of stealth, engines or maneuverability, it is far from a bad plane, and probably a very dangerous threat for the F-35, an aircraft used by
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I hate that, right? Obviously, what I said in the start of the video is applies, but in the end, there is a silent war between India and China on the border, right? China's claiming one entire state of India is there, so I don't know where that's gonna lead, right? There are always skirmishes. Now, obviously, all this happens in the Himalayan range. I don't know how much jet is going to help there. Helicopter, sure. India acquired a lot of US helicopters like Apache and things, so I don't know. One thing I can say is like Modi and his team, right, is like really smart in that way. Like they can be like really cunning. So I don't know what their strategy is. I don't know if why they cancel Su-57 is F-35 in the way. I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, all this stealth capability is scary. But to me, it feels like they're mostly doing this for the Taiwan thing. So yeah, US versus China is the mostly where this probably is gonna used.
America's allies around the world. So after this long rant, another impressive thing about the J-20 is actually the speed in which the PLA-AF is acquiring them. Serial production only started around 2017, but there are already at least 150 of them in service with more coming. And they haven't stopped at just making the original version either. In 2022, we also witnessed the first pictures of a new two-seater variant, making the first two-seater 5th-gen aircraft in the world. If the Chinese manage to solve the issues with engines and further perfect this aircraft, they might be looking at a bright future, and a mighty dragon will become the backbone of their air force for many years to come.
Nice video, found and explained. But if you continue using my line, I will find you, and I'll explain to you. But it's not what you think.
What is the Liam Neeson light? I'll find you and explain to you. I have certain books here, like a librarian. There you go. There is no threat. Come on. How would that threat you? That was so good. It's not what you think. I like, that's why I think, task and purpose uses different type of title, because know what you think is from know what you think. Like nobody can just directly use that, right? So I don't know what is task and purpose say is like, I don't know, something something, but yeah, it's something like know what you think, but not that, right? There's also series that he does that. All right, well, that was Stealth J-20. Yeah, it's like China's rising in that way, right? Right now, they're not much compared to the US, but they might be one day. Who knows? If US slows down which I don't think they are, right? Like, obviously, a lot of liberal wing and everybody just like screaming, "Why are you spending too much in military? We are already dominant." That's not how it's working right now. Pentagon is getting this supply. I see that now. Once I was that guy, like, okay, you are spending more than top 8 countries, more than that. You're literally dominating the world. Like, no one is close. Or why you spending? This is why. You don't want to slow down. China will overtake you, right? And it's looking like 150 is not some joke, right? They might, their production speed is so insane. Like, they build bridges and hospitals in matter of days, so they might make like 500 J-20s before anybody can even think. So yeah, you don't want to be slowed. NG-80 next generation of air dominance, the F-22 replacement, F-35 might become like so better. It might as well be new plane in future. All of this I can already see. They are thinking of making F-16 stealth, which is like okay. So they're not slowing down. But yeah, I see China getting better and better. Who knows? Let's hope it doesn't cause issue in India. So I don't know what to think. I'm pretty sure Himalayan range like jets is not going to be that much of an issue. But then again, who knows? Right, well, if you like my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.